All right. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. In the name of Allah, may the peace and blessing of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his companions, and all those who follow him until the day of judgment. Allahumma alimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na ma 'allamtana wa zidna ilma ya kareem. O Allah, teach us that which will benefit us and benefit us from what you have taught us and increase us in knowledge. Allahumma ameen. We are continuing the study of the 40 Hadith of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and we have reached the 11th Hadith. Alhamdulillah, so we are past 1/10 of the book, inshallah ta'ala, or of the collection. And we are in a Hadith that is one of the core legal, one of the Hadith that is the base for a legal maxim. All right, so there are five legal maxim, 5 or 6 legal maxim, and one of them is, for example, the certainty is not removed by doubt, right? Al-yaqeen la yazulu bi-shak. That is the legal maxim or the legal axiom. Also, there's another one that is actions are judged by their aims and purposes. Al-umur bimaqasidiha. That's a legal maxim. Another one is al-mashaqqa tajlibu taysir. Hardship necessitates ease. Another one is ad-darar yazal. Like hardship should be removed. And another one is al-'ada muhakkama. Customs are a rule so long as they don't contradict the Sharia. So these are some of the main legal maxims, and then from them there's a lot of other branches. So this hadith is the proof for one of the major legal maxims. So just to explain, like Brother Abdul Malik, do you know what a qawaid al-fiqhiyya is, legal maxim? Like, what is the difference between qawaid al-fiqhiyya and usul al-fiqh? This is technical, but it's important to know the difference. Brother Osman, any idea, any suggestion, any thought?
La, we're
Okay.
hoping to get the answer from you, Sheikh.
No, alhamdulillah, no, it's good. We want to learn together, inshallah. I mean, it's so usul al-fiqh. So fiqh, let's go with the word fiqh. Fiqh is knowing the rulings. Simple definition. We're not going to go into a very technical definition because we'll get lost in the definition of each one. Simple definition. Fiqh is knowing the rulings, right? And the proofs behind the rulings. Like, this is obligatory and this is the proof. This is recommended and this is the proof, right? So that is fiqh. Fiqh is knowing the rulings. This is the 5 rulings. This is obligatory. This is recommended. This is okay. Like mustahab, encouraged, and then this is disliked, and this is forbidden. Right? This is fiqh. Usul al-fiqh is the study of the sources that you utilize to arrive at the ruling. Okay? Usul al-fiqh is the study of the sources. And the first source is the Quran. So when you go with the Quran, you have the Quran and then the sciences of Quran. What is this verse in relation to tafsir? What is the reason for revelation of this verse? This verse and another verse seem to contradict. Which verse was revealed first and which verse was revealed last? This is how the ayat, the verses of the Quran, are analyzed prior prior to arriving at a ruling. Okay? So again, so fiqh is knowing the rulings, the five rulings. Okay, fiqh is knowing the rulings. Usul al-fiqh is a study of the of the sources, of the proofs, right, that help you arrive at those rulings. So that is usul al-fiqh. So usul al-fiqh, the first source is the Quran, and all of the schools of thought, the four Imams agree on this. That's the first source. But the Quran is not just the Quran, is the sciences within the Quran. Like for example, how does this verse change the ruling through a recitation? Right? Different recitation might change the meaning of the verse. I'll give you an example. Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 6, when it says, "O you who believe, when you stand up for prayer, right, wash your faces, wash your hands, right, unto your elbows, wipe your head, and wash your feet." So the one that says wash your feet, you can read it three different ways. One is arjulakum, arjulakum. When the lam has fatha, la arjulakum, that means washing. When the lam has kasra, arjulikum, that means wiping. When the lam has dhamma, arjulukum, that means wiping and washing. Right. So just the change of one letter, and this is when you look at the verse from the subject, from the science of the qira'at, of the recitations. Right. So, anyways, we're not going to get into the detail, but that's usul al-fiqh. Usul al-fiqh is a study of the sources to derive rulings, to deduce rulings. Fiqh is knowing the rulings. Then you have qawaid al-fiqhiyya. They're like parameters. They're like guardrails, right? They're like guardrails that as you're trying to get a ruling, you're not going over that guardrail. You're staying within, right? So the legal maxims help you see if this, if this ruling is good or not, right? So the legal maxims are the guardrails, right? So that's like actions are judged by the aims and purposes, and what else? Certainty is not removed by doubt, right? So that's the legal maxim, right? So that's the difference between the three, all right? So fiqh is knowing the rulings, usul al-fiqh is knowing the sources, qawaid al-fiqhiyya is knowing the guardrails, the boundaries, okay? All right, so we are in hadith number 11. An Abi Muhammadin al-Hasan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. An Abi Muhammad al-Hasan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. So this hadith was related by, the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, from his father Ali radiallahu ta'ala. So it says, an Abi Muhammad, on the father of Muhammad, Hassan, the son of Ali, the son of Abi Talib, Sibtu Rasulullah, the grandson of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wa Rayhana, right? And Rayhana is like his breath of fresh air, right? And then qala, and he said, right? He said, Hafidhtu min Rasulillah. So the grandson of Rasulullah saying, I memorized from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hafidhtu min Rasulillah, da' ma yaribuka, ila ma la yaribuka. Da' ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuka. Leave that, abandon that, Leave that which gives you doubt. Abandon that which gives you doubt for that does not give you doubt. Okay, this is related in رواه الترمذي والنسائي وقال الترمذي حديث حسن صحيح. And the grade of this hadith is that it is Hasan Sahih. So Imam al-Tirmidhi did it different than Bukhari and Muslim, is that he will give for the grading sometimes Hasan Sahih, like 2 grades. But it means that this hadith is good, but it's authentic, but not to the highest level as being Sahih, authentic by itself. Okay? So Imam al-Tirmidhi, he was an expert as well, and he also wrote a book on the science of hadith. So this is his ijtihad, his efforts in codifying the grades. So that's where he differs from Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. Imam al-Tirmidhi related this in the book describing the standing, al-qiyam, also the softening of the hearts, al-raqa'iq, right? And the chapter of wara, right? And also, and Nasai related it in the chapter of drinks, right? Imam Ahmed also related this hadith, and Imam Ahmed Shakir. Imam Ahmed Shakir was a contemporary scholar that graded this hadith, the transmission, to be authentic. Now let's look at the importance of this hadith. This hadith is another example of Jawam al-Kalim, the comprehensive speech of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jawam al-Kalim, and of the comprehensive speech and the profound wisdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he just said a few words. Da'ama yuribuka lama la yuribuk. Leave that doesn't make you doubt. Leave that makes you doubt for that doesn't make you doubt. Leave that, abandon that makes you doubt for that does not make you doubt. Okay, we're going to give examples inshallah. Then, so this is the foundation. This is the foundation. Now, in regards of this hadith, is from the foundations of our religion. If you remember in hadith number 6, it says, and whoever abandons the shubuhat, right? The hadith that says the halal is clear and the haram is clear, and between them there are those doubtful matters. None know them except a few, right? And then he says, whoever abandons these doubtful matters preserves his religion and his honor, right? So here, this action is a means for the preservation of our religion, of our faith, and our honor. Now, this practice is facilitated through having taqwa, being God conscious. There's 2 words. There is taqwa and there is wara. There is taqwa and there is wara. Taqwa that's the purpose of worship. Taqwa nurtures in you that protection that gives you the inner strength to just strive towards the halal, and you fight to abandon or stay away or protect yourself from the haram. So that's taqwa, right? That protection. To love Allah and obey Him, and to fear Allah and avoid disobeying Him. But what is wara? Wara, W-A-R-A, wara. Wara is scrupulousness, meaning that, yeah, you stay away, but you're like meticulous. You're like, no, I'm gonna do a little extra. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If that's a personal level of faith, also we should not impose that on others. We should try to keep it within ourselves and let us be scrupulous for ourselves, right? We can teach others, we can share, but through your example, you can speak louder than by just telling people what to do, what not to do. So having wara, having that scrupulousness, right, is one of the characteristics of the people of taqwa, right? The people of taqwa, that you're striving to obey Allah and avoid disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, there's two words, and I know I'm saying words, these are vocabulary words. There is a word that is shak. Shak means doubt, and it's translated in English doubt. Raib means doubt. So, what's the difference? What's the difference? So, for example, in um in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentions da'ama yaribuka. Leave that makes you doubt. But he used the word yaribuka, raib, raib. Like ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. Like that is a book in which there is no doubt. Right? La raib, there is no doubt in it. Right? So what is the difference between raib and shak? Raib and shak. Raib, raib is discomfort, right? Is that inner doubt that makes you mutaraddid, makes you, hesitant, makes you go back and forth. You make a decision, you go back. You're like, right? That's having that shak, that raib is that internal doubt. Shak is a mental doubt, that you have this certain doubt about this matter, like you doubt it, right? That's mental. So the mental doubt is shak. That's from like understanding. I doubt this thing, right? Raib is a feeling, is that inner doubt, inner feeling, but it's not because of an understanding. It's just that like they say, like that gut feeling, right? So so that's the difference, because sometimes they're used interchangeably and is explained interchangeably here, because the word that is used is raib and the legal maxim that was derived is shak. Al-yaqeen la yazulu shak. Certainty is not removed by doubt, by shak, right? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Da'a ma yaribuka ila ma la yaribuk." Leave that makes you doubt, for that doesn't make you doubt. So it means both, but the higher is the shak, right? That doubt because of understanding, doubt because of misunderstanding, or doubt in the Sharia or this or that, right? And I'm gonna give some examples. So leaving doubtful matters, leaving doubtful matters. For example, I'm gonna give you some example from the Salaf first, and then I give you some practical examples on how we can apply the hadith. So the first three generations and their position regarding leaving doubts out of wara, out of scrupulousness. Abu Dhar al-Ghifari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu said, the perfection of taqwa, the perfection of taqwa is leaving some of the lawful for fear that it might be unlawful. The perfection of taqwa is leaving some of the lawful for fear that it might be unlawful. Abu Abdurrahman al-Amari al-Zahid said, if a slave or a servant is careful, he leaves that which gives him doubt for that which doesn't give him doubt. Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad said, people claim wara, people claim scrupulousness is difficult. And he says, no two matters have been presented to me except that I chose the most difficult of them. Leave what gives you doubt. This is Fudail ibn Iyad, very famous scholar, rahmatullah alayh. He said, leave what makes you doubt for that doesn't give you doubt. Al-Hasan ibn Abi Sinan, he said, nothing is easier than wara, scrupulousness. If something gives you doubt, just leave it, right? If something gives you doubt, just leave it. Yazid ibn Zariya turned down 50,000 set aside as inheritance, and he did not take it. His father oversaw businesses on behalf of rulers, and Yazid made while Yazid made wicker from palm leaves and lived off until he died. So Yazid made the wicker that you used to turn on candles, right? And that's how he made a living until he died. So he chose not to get the inheritance. Why? Because his father used to deal with the money of the rulers, and Yazid ibn Zari, he doubted whether the money of the rulers was pure or not. So instead, he just decided to work hard and live off a simple living. Al-Miswar ibn Makhrama bought a huge amount of food. Then he saw some clouds in the autumn and disliked it. He said, did I not see that I dislike what benefits the Muslims? He then swore that he would not profit from it at all. And he told Omar ibn Khattab, Omar radiallahu anhu said to him, may Allah reward you for your goodness. So that means that he found some deficiency in what he purchased, right? Some defect. So he didn't want to sell it. He didn't want to give it to the Muslims. He didn't want to benefit them with it. It was said that Ibrahim ibn Adham said, it was said to Ibrahim ibn Adham, do you not drink the water of Zamzam? He replied, if I had a bucket, I would, indicating that the bucket was from the ruler's wealth and was therefore doubtful. So here, Ibrahim ibn Adham was offered Zamzam by someone. And just because that bucket could have belonged to a ruler and he wasn't sure, he said, if I would have had my own bucket, I would drink from it, right? So he was doubtful of who the bucket belonged to, okay? So, I mean, yeah, these statements sounds like, wow, like this is like that's wara. That I want you to understand. It sounds overdoing it. That is called wara, scrupulousness, right? He doesn't have to. He should not. Don't ask, don't tell. Just drink it. It's water, zamzam, right? But Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, and this is not a ruling, right? This is just the example of the wara of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, the author of the 40 Hadith. Imam al-Nawawi was from Nawa, and he went to study in Damascus, in the north of Nawa. And he refused to eat from the market, the meat. And when he would go and see a butcher, he would not just look at the process of processing the meat, he would actually analyze the devoutness, the piety of the person sacrificing the meat. If the person sacrifices the meat, meeting all the condition, and the person is not committed to the religion, is not praying, is not dealing in a halal way with money, what's the quality of the food? Like it's not only about the process of the sacrifice, is the whole package, the spirit. But that was Imam al-Nawawi's requirement. He was like, he would not eat if the person sacrificing was not pious. I'm going to give you some examples of doubt. And there is differences of opinion. Some view that if you doubt, like that you have wudu and you're in salah, that you stay in salah. Others view, they would say that, and that's an opinion, that is whispers of shaitan. There is, in the Shafi madhab, if you doubt, you have to analyze first yourself. It's case by case. So let's say, I'm going to ask you a question. Let's say you go to salah and you feel when you say Allahu Akbar, you question the fact whether you have wudu or not. How do you troubleshoot this situation? Can anybody chime in? You're in prayer and you doubt if you have wudu.
Sheikh, I believe if the last thing you remembered was in a state of wudu, then I think you're fine to continue. But if you don't remember losing your wudu, then you still have the wudu. Is that correct? I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, good. So I mean, we all have to try to figure it out because when we pray, we sometimes forget, right? So anybody else, Brother Abdul Karim, if you're available, inshallah. Or Brother Abdul Malik, whoever jumps on first, Bismillah. What would you do? You're in Salah and you have some raib, you have some doubts, right? Whether you have wudu or not.
Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you remember making wudu, but not losing wudu, then you should go with that you're in wudu because certainty is not removed by doubt.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're a little choppy. Say it again. Take it off speaker if you can.
Hold on. Assalamu Alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if you remember making wudu, but you don't remember breaking wudu, then you should assume that you have wudu because certainty is not removed by doubt.
Okay. But now you have doubt, like you're not sure, right? So one more round. Abdul Karim, Bismillah. All right. So you judge by your practice, right? So for example, you remember that you went to the bathroom, right? And your practice, like for example, my practice is that every time I use the bathroom, I make wudu, right? So because it's my practice, now I go to prayer, Allahu Akbar, and I'm like, do I have wudu? So I went to the bathroom, so I know my practice is that every time I go to the bathroom, I make wudu. So since I went to the bathroom, I'm on wudu, right? Because that's my ada, that's my custom, right? Let's say someone says, I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands and I leave, right? Now I'm in salah, I went to the bathroom. I'm not sure if I have wudu. Then what's certain is that you don't have wudu because your custom is that you don't make wudu when you go to the bathroom. unless like it's for salah. So you judge case by case. You have to weigh. So if you enter into salah, Allahu Akbar, and you know that that's your practice, that you always make wudu, then you're on wudu. And if you don't always make wudu, then you're not on wudu. Right? So it's just like that's something that you try to analyze yourself, right? Because so that's how you build on your practice. What's certain and what's not, right? So certainty is not removed by doubt. So for example, let's say you are making isha and you stand up and you forget if you are in the third rak'ah or in the fourth rak'ah. What do you do there? Which is certain, 4 or 3? Or which is safer? 3, right?
3.
3 is safer, right? 3 is safer. So the rule is إذا شك في عدد الركعات, if you doubt the number of rak'at, بنى على اليقين, build on what's certain. وهو الأقل, and it is the least number. And then after you finish, make sujood al-sahw, make two sajdas, and that's it. Because if you say, I think I did 4. No, I think the word I think is doubtful. You understand? The word I think is doubtful. So therefore, you build on what's certain. So therefore, in salah, in the rak'ats, the certainty is the least number. إذا شك في عدد الركعات بنى على اليقين وهو الأقل وسجد لسهو. So and then you make sujood al-sahw. So this is how we deal with dealing with doubt. So the scholar said when doubt contradicts certainty, we take certainty and give it precedence, and we avoid the doubt. And then, so again, this is the legal maxim. And then he says, for example, someone makes wudu and doubts as to whether he has nullified it or is still considered in the state of wudu. So if a person makes wudu and doubts, did I pass gas? Like, did I lose my wudu? Since you made wudu, that's sure. That certainty overcomes that raib, that internal hesitant doubt, right? Then you're still in wudu. The Prophet ﷺ said, if one of you felt something in his stomach, the Prophet ﷺ said, if one of you felt something in his stomach and he or she is not sure whether he released it or not, meaning gas, he should not leave the masjid, meaning he should not leave the prayer unless he hears the sound or notices the smell. All right? So a thought is not enough. Unless do you hear it? No, I didn't hear it. Do you smell it? No, I don't smell it. Right? Then, so therefore, he says, if one of you felt something in his stomach and he is not sure whether he released it or not, he should not leave the masjid unless he hears the sound or notices a smell.
Imam Daniel.
Yes.
Good question. How is this different from, let's say you're making salah, you know for sure obviously you have wudu, or maybe you just made wudu and then now you're in a salah, but like you can't focus, you're like thinking about everything else out there in the world, and then like I think it said we're supposed to is it like spit, not like spit, but like half a spit, to the left and to the right 3 times, and then kind of whisper out, I was believing I should and then continue the salah. Can this also be applied to that doubt of wudu, or are they two completely different things?
No, that's waswasa. That's like whisper, right? That's like, and that is typically dealt with the sunnah prayers, right?
Okay.
With the voluntary prayers, it helps you develop the concentration for the obligatory prayers, right? So that is important. Like that's um so yeah, so I mean, I mean, again, you have to pick your environment, right? You're not gonna turn on the in during salah in the masjid and spit on the side, right? But I mean, it's not meant as a lot of spit. I mean, it just means like you're turning a light, like when you do the dua for going to sleep, right? That type of spit. Now, there's another example, right? There's another. So, again, that goes, the question you asked goes pertaining to the topic of khushu', like the focus and humility in the state of prayer. Like you're concentrated, like you're concentrated on the recitation, you're concentrated on the prayer. Sometimes, we sometimes we don't understand the prayer, right? The recitation. We don't understand what's being recited. And sometimes the imam reads a long prayer, right? So naturally we sign off, right? We just, we get distracted. Similar to like social media, right? Like you're watching something and you swap, right? Our minds is currently programmed in that matter, right? So in that manner, so the thing is, one develops the khushu', that concentration, through doing the voluntary prayers and trying to concentrate, like trying to know, like when you're reading Surah Al-Fatiha, um, if you feel still that I understand the meaning, but it's not like impacting me. Then do it in English too. Do it Arabic and English. Like in your, like you want to engage with the Quran. So you want to make sure that, so that you can really understand that Allah is talking to you, right? So it helps stay connected, right? The voluntary prayers and understanding some of the meaning of the verses helps one stay connected in the prayer. There's another example of doubt. For example, let's say now, let's say a woman comes to me and says, my husband divorced me. And she gives me all the reasoning. Am I divorced? So what do we do here? Right? How do we know what's certain and what's doubtful? Right? You should believe the person coming to you, right? But if she asks for the ruling, what should I tell her? Take a swing at it. Bismillah. This is just for practice.
And are we allowed to ask, like, you know, was that person in a state of anger? Did you get into an argument? Like
Yeah,
what
but there has
caused?
to be, regardless of the reason, like there has to be some proof because she's still saying it. Like there has to be something that's tangible. Like, look, he wrote it in a text. You know, yeah, he wrote it in a text. Yes, and this is his phone. Okay, cool. But what about if she took his phone and wrote it and sent him a message and send herself a message? You never know, right? You know, right?
Crazy.
It is, right? So the thing is, though we don't want to cast that doubt in the sister, right? We don't want to cast that doubt at all. but we want to build on what's certain, right? So, you stated, sister, I believe in what you're saying, right? But now you're asking me a question: am I divorced? Well, you're not divorced because what the proof that exists or that is tangible is that there was a marriage, that there was two witnesses, that there was a marriage contract, that there was a dowry. That's a proof, right? And there's no proof otherwise. I believe in what you're saying, but I'm going to have to call your husband, or we're going to have a meeting to discuss what happened and get the confirmation from him, because it's his right, right? It's his right to say it, right? That's on his domain. So therefore, we gotta verify, right? If it's verified, then yes, you're divorced. So again, certainty is that there's a contract. Doubt is that there is a claim that, or let's say a valid claim that just needs to be substantiated with proof to back it up. Because the contract has the guardian, has the two witnesses, has the bride and groom, has the dowry, has the signature of the officiant, right? So therefore, this is a proof and this is doubt. So if she asks, am I divorced? No, you're not divorced until I get to see the proof, or I get to speak to the person and get confirmation from him. Let's see, there's another, a man asked Bishop ibn Harith about a man who has a wife and his mother told him to divorce her. He replied, if he is dutiful to his mother in everything and nothing remains from his duty to her other than divorcing his wife, he should do so. If he is dutiful to her by divorcing his wife, and then after that he stands up and hits his mother, he should not do so. So what does that mean? I know it's so the again the Bashir bin Haris, a man, right? The mother told him to divorce his wife. So they ask, is he divorced? Right? Should he divorce his wife? So the question now is this man obedient and good to his mother? Right? If that's his practice. But if he doesn't listen to his mother generally, right? So then he should not. Like if that's I mentioned, like if he is dutiful to his mother in everything, right? And the only thing that remains is she said divorce your wife, then he should divorce her, right? But if he is only dutiful, he only listened to her because because he wants to divorce his wife. But in general, he mentioned he hits his mother, or he is disrespectful for his mother, or he curses at his mother, or you can interpret it in many different ways, right? If he has that character and he's just using the mother's request as an excuse to get divorced, then he should not. Right? Then he should not get divorced. Right? So here again, that's from wara. That's looking at the character of the person. A man asked Ahmed ibn Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala for permission to use the inkwell. And he replied, right. And this is over wara, scrupulousness. He said to someone else, neither my scrupulousness nor your scrupulousness will reach this. Imam Ahmed said, this is out of modesty. for he would never write using one of his companions' inkwell. It was concerning himself that he employed his wara, his scrupulousness, and he would reproach anyone else who had not reached his level of taqwa in scrupulousness in all of their affairs. So this man out of this scholar out of wara. So let's say they have the inkwell. This is for the ink, right? The ink for the pen. So the man asked for inkwell for himself instead of asking to borrow someone else's ink out of wara, out of scrupulousness. Like he just wanted his own, right? Wanted his own to ensure that, he knows the making of it. He knows. So that was just out of the level of taqwa and the level of scrupulousness. So for example, when writing the Quran, when a person writes the Quran in Arabic, the person should be in a state of wudu. The ink should be pure. The stick that is used or the pen that is used also has to be pure. Right? All of that, right, is taken in consideration. So imagine someone like Uthman Taha, who was the one that wrote the Quran in Arabic, right? Recent, like the Quran that we have, like the green Quran from Medina, that Quran is all written by Uthman Taha. And you can look it up online, Uthman Taha. Uthman, there's nice videos, and you can see his examples of his writings when he wrote the Quran itself, right? So he will be in wudu. He will be in wudu, and you always say Bismillah. So that is when dealing with writing the Quran, right? Now, there is a truthfulness and lying, right? The Prophet ﷺ said, إنما الصدق تهدي إلى البر وإن البر, right? وإن البر تهدي إلى الجنة. Right, truthfulness leads to righteousness. Righteousness leads to paradise. And then he says, إنما الكذب تهدي إلى الضلال. Lying leads to misguidance. والضلال تهدي إلى النار. And misguidance leads to the hellfire. Right? And then the Prophet said, talked about sin. He said, الإثم ما هاك في قلبك, is that which causes you discomfort in your chest. It causes you doubt, right? So that is and truthfulness and righteousness leads to comfort and tranquility and ease. All right. So again, this is a principle, as we inshallah come to an end of this session, inshallah ta'ala. This is a principle that we can apply in our life, which is leaving that which makes you doubt for that doesn't make us doubt. Right? Building uncertainty. Did I pray dhuhr? Did I pray I don't remember. I prayed asr. Right? So what do I have to do? I have to go back and pray dhuhr because I'm not sure. Right? Did I read the Quran? I'm going to read the Quran. Do I have wudu? Right? Again, you analyze, right? So it's good to try your best to practice that. And this is good even for new Muslims to make decisions, right? Is this doubtful? Is this certain? Like this is a very important principle for us to utilize, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah give us success, inshallah. May Allah give us success. So next hadith number 12, inshallah, would be it talks about minding one's own business, right? Right. From the goodness of Islam is that one leaves that which does not concern him. Okay, so we will get into that hadith next week, inshallah ta'ala. So let me do, yeah, so next week we'll do this. We'll do a class on Thursday, inshallah. On Thursday, bismillah. I'm sorry, my bad. Saturday, inshallah. Saturday, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu fikum. Any questions before we conclude?
Imam Daniel,